It all came down to a clutch bunker shot and a putt for par to seal the deal. Jim Furyk keeping fans on their feet with an exciting finish to the FedExCup.
Settle in as we rewind the week with the latest edition of Monday Backspin from PGA TOUR.com.
Hello everyone, I'm Casey Black. After the season-long race for the FedExCup, it's Jim Furyk whose name will now be etched on the FedExCup trophy. With this putt on the 18th, Furyk wins the Tour Championship presented by Coca-Cola and moved up the point standings 10 spots to win the whole thing. Furyk now joins only Tiger Woods and Vijay Singh as FedExCup champions.
What a special year. I've never had a 3-win season. This is the first. To have the fourth FedExCup trophy in my hands right now, it's just a great icing on the cake for a good year.
Furyk, who showed off his hardware after the round, has now won 3 times on tour this year, which is a first for the Florida resident. After the victory, he talked about a little bit of a setback in the beginning of the playoffs when he missed his Pro-Am tee time and was subsequently disqualified from the Barclays.
Now, first and foremost, I wanted to make sure that missing that tournament I would end up still have a chance to make it to this tournament, but no, I didn't play particularly well in Boston. I didn't play particularly well at the BMW, but I hung in there enough to finish 11th and gave myself an opportunity. And I really worked hard last week. Made a couple equipment changes even, and worked real hard on my game and came in firing on all cylinders.
Jim Furyk, though, never lost sight of the FedExCup. With a 1-shot lead heading into the final hole at Eastlake, Furyk hit his tee shot on the 18th into the right front bunker, but his sand shot to stick his par putt within 2 feet 5 inches set the stage for the 40-year-old to win the Tour's most coveted prize. Later, he talked about his support system that helped him get to this point.
We can't play the Tour for a living without first a wonderful wife at home, 2 understanding kids. I grew up in the game with my father being my teacher. My mom took a job when I was in high school so they could send me around the country. Told you. So they could send me around the country to play junior golf so I could get a scholarship, and it's really been a team atmosphere. I've got my caddy Mike involved there, and a couple friends that helped me keep in decent shape at home. And I don't let a lot of people in, but I couldn't compete at the level I do without that strong team behind me. And I feel like when I go out and play well, I share it with them the whole time.
Luke Donald certainly gave Furyk a run for his money, especially late in his round. Watch this stellar chip shot on the 17th for birdie.
Not really.
Luke Donald plays an absolutely perfect pitch and run from just over 30 yards and in.
With that, Donald was closing the gap on Furyk. After his round, Donald watched Furyk from the scoring tent to see if a playoff for the Tour Championship and FedExCup would be had, but in the end, it wasn't meant to be.
I was proud of myself to hang in there and make that chip on 17 and give myself a chance for birdie on 18. So that's all I could do. Unfortunately, came up one shot short.
And even though Donald finished in solo second for the Tour Championship, he did not finish in second in the FedExCup standings. Here's how the season-long race for the FedExCup ended. Furyk on top, Matt Kuchar in second, Luke Donald comes in third, followed by Charlie Hoffman, Dustin Johnson, Paul Casey, Steve Stricker, Jason Day, Ernie Els, and Retief Goosen filling out the top 10. Nick Watney, who came into the week 28th in the FedExCup standings, had a heck of a weekend in Atlanta. At one point, through a stretch of 18 holes between Saturday and Sunday, he shot a 58. He ultimately, though, finished 12th in the FedExCup standings. And defending champion Phil Mickelson finished tied for 22nd at 3 over par for the championship. He ultimately finished 13th in the FedExCup standings. Fred Albers is standing by in Atlanta and has a look back at the Tour Championship and the season-long race for the FedExCup.
Well, Casey, another Tour Championship in the books. What an exciting week it was at the Eastlake Golf Club. But what I'm going to remember is not so much the play of Furyk, of Goosen, of all those wonderful players here, the top 30 in the world. No, I think I'm going to remember this golf course, how very difficult it was. If you remember, Casey, we came here 4 years ago, and the course was not in that good a shape. They transitioned out of bent grass greens to Bermuda greens. And finally this year, the course played the way it was intended. It was hard, it was fast. In fact, I think these were the fastest greens the players have putted on the entire year. You had to be in total control of your golf ball in order to win this tournament. And you know what? I think that's just the way Bobby Jones wanted it. Remember Bobby, a longtime member here at Eastlake, and I like to think he was looking down with a nod of approval. Remember, this is the 80th anniversary of his closing out the Grand Slam. Casey, we move on. We go across the Atlantic Ocean. We head to the Ryder Cup at Celtic Manor. Our broadcast begins at 2:30 in the morning on Friday Eastern Time. And check back at PGATour.com for all the very latest updates. Casey?
Thank you, Fred. It's the United States versus Europe as the 2010 Ryder Cup gets underway, as does the Viking Classic in Mississippi. And of course, keep it tuned to PGATour.com for all the latest information.